Welcome back. Our next guest is a Bronx-born, seven-time gunshot survivor, self-educated entrepreneur, author, and speaker. Here to tell us about his story, self-published books, and more is founder and CEO of Blue Jay Phenomenal Group, LLC, Axel Desarden. Axel, it's so good to have you here.
Oh,
We were
it's a
just saying,
pleasure.
we grew up almost in the same area. You grew
Yeah,
up in
used to
Soundview, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I grew up in like Academy Gardens, like further down on the 6th
Okay,
Train.
you're over
Yeah,
by Randall's.
exactly.
Stevenson High School was your school zone?
That was my high school.
Oh, okay.
I don't care what they say about it. I love Stevenson.
That's right.
So, I mean, let's talk about what has inspired you with these two books. So you have here two of them, Questions Are the Answers, and then, well, this is the newest book, Questions Are the Answers. I just want to get into your life story. What inspired you, to leave the workforce and say, you know what, I'm going to go into business for myself and become a self-published author?
Well,
That's not easy.
No, it's not, and it's very, very risky, and there's a lot of sacrifices that come along with that. There was something missing for me. It was something I could almost pin it to just lack of fulfillment, and I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to reach out. I wanted to impact somebody else. What I wanted to really do is to make a difference and draw out the best in somebody else. And the best way I can do that is really through my shared experiences, right? We identify through pain, through victory, and writing this first book, Distorted Perception of Innocence, it gave me the opportunity to free myself, right, from myself. I was able to face my past, and I was able to make peace with it, make sense out of it, and to move along. And the byproduct of that is that somebody else that gets to read my story, and they may be going or struggling through something very similar. And when you're in your teenage years, it's kind of vital because you're going through an emotional development stage, and so you may be faced with making pressuring decisions. So I'm hoping that for the youth that reads my book, that he'll be able to identify with some of the issues that I've gone through.
Now, what are some of those, because it says you're a seven-time gunshot survivor. Where was this?
So this actually occurred on Stratford Avenue. This was August 15, 1990 was actually the first time I was shot.
As a teenager?
As a teenager.
Oh
I was 15 years old. Now these 7 gunshots occurred in over the course of 2 weeks, so it didn't happen all in one night. So I was shot, I was grazed in the left elbow, August 15, 1990. And 2 weeks later, on August 30th, 1990, and I'll never forget these dates, I was gunned down with an additional 6 gunshots, and this occurred on Morrison Avenue and Westchester Avenue on the 6th line. And that was my neighborhood, that's where I grew up. So, turning to the streets for me, it was, I was looking to identify with people, with peers that were, going through similar struggles that I was going through in my home, right? I love my parents, I love my home growing up, but at a certain age, I've come to a point where I started to notice certain things in the neighborhood. When I was 5 years old, my dad used to walk me to the video rental store to go get Kung Fu movies. Like, that was my delight. Along the way, I was totally oblivious to the neighborhood that I was living in, to the drug and the violence that was, was going on right in front of me. But, my world was my dad and my family. Right. So that's the innocent part of Distorted Perception of Innocence. As I started to become of age, I started to become more aware of my surroundings. I started to look to identify with what's, cool and hip. I started to want more things. Things at home weren't the greatest. So when I began to connect with my peers in the street, my classmates, my friends, they shared similar pains. And so this brought me down a dark, period in my life that, I wasn't even aware of at the time, but I was making a lot of bad decisions. But at the time, it seemed innocent. It just seemed like fun, hanging out in the neighborhood. I didn't think I was doing too much harm, but...
When did the transformation happen for you, and what inspired you to write this book?
So this transformation actually occurred not too long ago. And we're talking about 27 years later, right? This transformation occurred for me about 2 years ago. seeking more fulfillment and wanting to make a difference and getting away from selfish gain and actually transitioning from a consumer to a contributor was my biggest epiphany, right? Instead of taking, I wanted to give, right? I've experienced the workforce, I've experienced the accolades, and I've climbed the ladder with success, and I had a great time. But for me, it was more, at that time, it was a bit selfish. You know, I was just consuming too much, and I wasn't really contributing. So at the end of the day, I wanted to make a difference and wanted to help somebody else. So I took a look at me. I took a real good look at me.
And you began to ask questions.
And that's what questions are the answers started to come in.
And I really love it, kind of like it was almost like a riddle. Because, right? Because, you know, are you saying, like, what is behind that topic, questions are the answers? What's behind the title?
So questions are the answers is really to provoke your thought process, right? It's really to expand your self-awareness. It's a book of reflection, of self-reflection. It's really to get you to open your eyes just a little bit, right? For so long, I've ducked myself and I shortchanged myself and I wasn't completely honest. And so questions are the answers for me is am I acting consciously, am I taking a conscious approach to me every morning, or am I codified in a monotonous routine, right? Am I coasting through life? Why is it that I'm not really making progress? If I take a look at the past 5 years and I really measure my success scale, have I been on autopilot, right? Am I doing the things that really make me happy? And so this is really, it's a workbook. So at the end of each chapter, there are questions and answers that you can ask yourself, because it's really about an honest approach to who you are. And for me personally, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know what exactly what it is that I wanted to do. Right? So they say if you don't have goals and dreams, if you don't work on them, you're going to be hired to work. You're going to be hired to work on somebody else's goals and dreams. So
well, we really appreciate you sharing this with us. We hope that many people, I'm sure they're going to look out for this book, Question Are the Answers, so that you can begin to look inside and find those answers. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Stay connected with author Axel Desarden at Blue Jay Phenomenal. Axel D, to find out more about his publication company and to purchase his books, visit bluejayphenomenal.com. Don't go anywhere. More open to return.